Yeah. It's already playing. Okay.
Once you have stapled, please find your seat. It has been a while since I've seen you guys, right? We've got a lot to get caught up on today. So, first thing we'll start off with, of course, is attendance. For attendance, we'll make it real easy because I know it's been a long day. I want you to tell me what city model you chose for your project. That's it. Okay? Sarah? Southeast Asia? Casey?
Things, but I also forgot that that's going to
Anything
turn
else?
into like
I use
like a heads up
local,
game.
yeah, but I use particles, I use like roads,
Okay.
because I felt that a city that didn't have anything stupid.
Okay. Stupid or modern, most modern city.
I mean, if it doesn't have roads, it doesn't seem like a city. If it's just laying on the map, it seems like a city unless it has roads.
If it doesn't have roads, what are you going to be able to do?
Walk everywhere.
Everything's got to be really close, right? Yeah. All right, Mafta. Second. Scarlett? Thank you. Callie? Shelby? Nora's taking the basketball picture, is that what I heard?
Yeah, and you saw how bad it was.
Sam? Aaron's not here today, okay. Avi? Noah?
Usually on the concentric zone model, because no cities are referred to.
Sure. Samantha? Amelia? Sector. And Lale. All right. Everybody please grab a seat. Yes, I will collect everything from you, but at specific moments in today's class. Let me start off by handing out your agenda. How many of you checked your email over the snow day? At this point, and so have you talked to Amy Horton about that?
I didn't know if it was something on your list.
No, you're on my roster, and your name is selected.
Because I've got it on my phone and I go in and update it anyways, just check, but I never got it.
Have you tried on the laptop?
And I tried on one of the school computers too, and I never did that.
Okay, ask Amy Horton about it. All right. Agendas. I will take everything from you at an appropriate time in class. Latin American model, names and characteristics of Cyprus, where does that look? No, I have So it's probably a bit more of a model. The population is Islamic. Do you remember that? Is it mostly Islamic or is it mostly Christian? Go back to your assignment, tabs, and see what you Does anybody else have a picture besides Nora? Okay. And yes, you guys, all right, now I need everybody to look up here. All right. Stop what you're doing. Here are your updates. First off, because of the snow days, as you know, the AP exam does not move. So we need to stay on pace. That's what I said to you all in the email, okay? And so today, we are continuing. Projects are due, profiles are due. We'll talk about both in today's class. And I'll do my last discussion with you on urban problems, okay? And resolutions for city planning. That's what our topic for the day is. The other thing, next class, so Friday's class, we will do review. The whole period will be dedicated to reviewing for the test, which is on Tuesday. I realize that the snow days have interrupted this unit. So that means you need to be studying at home. Even if you come to after-school sessions with me, you need to be studying at home because we've had so many chunked out days. But we have to move forward, okay? I cannot stress that enough. Your homework for the next 2 classes is to study for the test, right? So you should have plenty of time with your study skills to review with people. At home, flip through your notes, look over your vocabulary, etc. Okay? Here are your other updates. In the classrooms, and other teachers might have talked to you all about this, but regarding technology, the Brown School High School is allowed to use devices in the classroom this year. And we said that on the first day of school, remember? Okay? But these are going to be hanging in the classrooms, whether it's a green day, yellow day, red day. A green day means you can use your cell phone at any time without me giving you permission. That's likely not going to happen in my classroom. Okay? Yellow day is likely going to be what we usually have. I am going to tell you at certain times when you can use your cell phone to look up, okay, for academic purposes. Red day means no cell phone usage whatsoever. Like, you should not be using your cell phones on a test day. There's no need for you to be on it at all. Okay? So these will be hanging in your all's classrooms. Just be aware of it. Today's a yellow day. Most days are going to be yellow days. Okay? Other update. The AP exam, sign up. It's March 20th. Okay? Some of you have signed up. I've seen the list of people who have already signed up.
If she's not in
Others
there,
of you
don't
have
worry.
indicated you want to take the test, but your name's not on the list yet. We're coming to that deadline. So everyone get out their agendas right now, or you can get out your cell phone and send a text message, write a reminder to yourself. But we need to make sure that you get that money turned in by March 20th. That's going to go to Pam Wilson. Okay? If at some point in this class we get a down period, I'll let you run up there. Okay? All right. Headway room. Everybody know where Pam Wilson's office is? Headway. It's almost like you're about to walk out the building when you see her enter her office. Okay. The third thing, starting next week, if you want, on Wednesdays, I am dedicating my Wednesday afternoons after school to AP review. Optional. It is optional. If you would like to come to review for the test starting next week, I will be holding that on Wednesdays. I can't do it Tuesdays or Thursdays because that's dedicated to my U.S. history students. Okay? If you ask me to, sometimes I might be able to stay on Fridays as well, but I don't want to stay and people aren't going to show up. Okay? So Wednesdays, mark that out for yourself. If you're planning on taking the AP exam, we're going to go over old material. We're going to do some test practice questions, maybe some FRQs and brainstorming for them, etc. Usually those will last around 30 to 40 minutes. Okay? It's just a short block after school. So come to that if you would like extra review. Those are all my updates for you. We're starting off the period with our news eye-opener. Okay? Get out your eye-openers. You are connecting course content with what's going on in the news. And we are watching Channel 1 today. I will give you 2 to 3 minutes after we finish to write up complete sentences. Remember, this is practice for your FRQ. You want to make sure that you can take random material and apply your knowledge to it. Okay? You've seen FRQs on all sorts of different topics, right? And so you need to be able to practice with the news. only need to choose one news story to go on.
What is up? It's Wednesday, March 11th. I'm Scott Evans, and Channel 1 News starts right now. First up today, let's check out what's making headlines. And we head to Washington, D.C., where there's a war of words brewing over the president's plan to make a deal with the country of Iran over putting a freeze on their nuclear program. This week, 47 Republican senators issued an open letter to the leaders of Iran, warning them that anything not approved by Congress is a mere executive agreement and could be revoked by the next president with the stroke of a pen. Democrats fired back, saying the letter was sabotage and put delicate negotiations at risk.
I disagreed with President Bush so very much what he was doing to our country. But I would never, ever consider anything even close to this.
Senator Tom Cotton, who wrote the letter, defended the move.
Congress must approve a deal for a deal to be lasting, and Congress will only approve a deal if it stops Iran from getting a nuclear weapon.
The U.S. and 5 nations have been working to finalize an agreement by April that would eliminate Iran's ability to build a nuclear weapon for at least a decade. In exchange, some economic punishments against Iran would be lifted. Many Republicans have called those terms unacceptable. But President Obama insists he doesn't need Congress to sign off. Iran's foreign minister called the letter a propaganda ploy and said it had no legal value. Later this week, Secretary of State John Kerry will travel to Switzerland for the next round of negotiations with Iran. There's more outrage growing from those racist chants by some University of Oklahoma students. 2 students have now been expelled. But the fraternity's house mother is now getting some unwanted attention after her own racist video went viral. This is the latest video to surface from the SAE fraternity. This one showing the fraternity's 78-year-old house mother using the same racial slur back in 2013. Although she says she was just singing along with a rap song. But she's being called out because earlier in the week, before her video was released, she expressed shock at the same racial slur being used by the SAE fraternity members.
I heard the words. Unbelievable. This is not SAE.
The SAE house has been shut down. All students living at the house and their house mother were ordered out. And yesterday, the president of Oklahoma University expelled 2 students for their alleged leadership role in the racist chant video. Hundreds of students are still reeling over that recording.
So I just stood up and said, hey, we should not say this.
And last up, a decision came down yesterday in the case of whether or not Blurred Lines is a ripoff of another song. And the jury calls it a copycat. A Los Angeles jury said the song by Pharrell Williams and Robin Thicke ripped off Marvin Gaye's 1977 hit, Got to Give It Up. The ruling is a win for Marvin Gaye's family, which sued on copyright infringement. The family will now be awarded $7.3 million. That's it for headlines, but coming up, some of the best young minds compete for big money. Okay, our next story is like American Idol meets the Science Guy. High school students present their ideas in front of a panel of judges, and there's a cool $1 million in prizes up for grabs. But as Tom Hansen shows us, you'll need more than a good voice for this one.
They're young, smart, and innovative. The 40 2015 finalists competing in the Intel Science Talent Search came from all over the country. See, this isn't your average cafeteria science fair. Yeah, there are no exploding volcano models. The contestants presented their own scientific research and technology ideas that could just change the world. And last night, the winners were announced for 3 different categories. Noah Golowich of Lexington, Massachusetts took home first prize in the category of basic research. He developed a groundbreaking mathematical proof to solve long and complicated math problems. First place in the category of global good went to Andrew Jin of San Jose, California, who developed a machine that finds the genetic causes of many diseases. And finally, in the third category, innovation, Michael Hoffman Wiener of Bethesda, Maryland, created a study of complex atomic structures, which got him a first place prize. These three winners each were given a grand prize of $150,000, but they're just a few of the more than 2,000 contestants that initially applied for the talent search. And they joined a pretty impressive roster of past finalists, including 8 Nobel Prize winners and Oscar Best Actress winner Natalie Portman, who was an Intel semi-finalist. But even more impressive are the issues these teams took on. Let's just say the competition was pretty stiff. Finalist projects ranged from cybersecurity to detecting parasites of blood samples.
Take the slide, put it underneath the smartphone and the lens attachment, take a picture on the camera, send it to the server analyzes it, and within a couple of seconds you get an output with sort of a preliminary blood report.
18-year-old Tanae Tandon says the report can detect blood disorders and the presence of parasites indicating a tropical disease. And high school senior Kriti Lal designed a machine to help the 137 million people affected by arsenic-polluted water.
I made a novel water treatment system to inexpensively remove arsenic from water. This novel system uses a bacteria that I genetically engineered, and it also uses a bioreactor that I designed and built.
Win or lose, simply being a finalist is a pretty big deal. And one thing all the students can agree upon is hoping their innovations will have a real-world impact. Tom Hinton, Channel 1 News.
Okay. Take 2 to 3 minutes to write out your complete sentences connecting what's in the news to your class. And if you have a news story outside of what we just watched, you can use that as well. While you're finishing those up, I have your report cards. So you can come up and grab your report card from me. Callie, Magda, Avi. And these grade periods ended a couple weeks ago now. Make sure these get taken home. Sam. Sarah. Oh, Sarah. Scarlett. Molly. Noah. Amelia, Alden.
I'm backwards.
Okay, there's stuff on your desk for you. Yeah, I think a lot of things are behind. Yes, Lauren? These are old. Yeah, so I was going to check what is the updated grades. Yes, we can. Okay,
first 6 weeks?
This grading period ended at least 2 weeks ago. I'll give you an exact date. Same as you. Keep it up. February 16th, I think it officially ended. And so it's been a while. So your grades are cumulative for the high school. So you might have different grades at this point. If that is a question point, bring that up with your parents and guardians, that the grades are constantly changing, and you can check those updated ones on us on campus at any time. Was there a question? Yeah. Oh, okay. What's up?
Bro, I need you to show me something. I'm confused.
On what?
Okay.
Your partnership?
There's like something around the lines with the, like, some here they're actually on the line. Are these the ones? Seems like a silly question, but I'm
That must be first semester. First semester, that's what you got. Maybe it's the second semester, yes. Okay. Something I'm going to pass around while we're talking about the news. Sunny brought this in. If you ever have anything that you want to bring in to share, and I know some of you already have, this is an article that was in a magazine at her house about GMOs, and it asks, how can you tell if they are real or modified? Okay, perfectly fitting for our agriculture unit that we just came out of. What is a GMO? What about food allergies? And can GMO food harm my health? Questions we asked, right? So you can pass that around and look at it. Okay, if you're still writing on your news eye-opener, that's okay. Just going to dive in. I will push you a little bit on the eye-openers today to define terms that you bring up. Okay? Let's make strong connections between the class and the news. Amelia, can you start us off?
I don't really know, because
Which news story did you select?
the ones, the old lady, the lady who's like, racist.
How did you connect it?
I don't know, it's not really her, but it's not. I'm not really sure.
Okay, well, let's think about it. This is happening where? Where did these racial comments come out? At a college. And do you think that that is a good thing for the college or a bad thing? Bad. And so if you have students that are potentially leaving or students not coming to that college because of it, what might that be in terms of our class? Things that make people want to go away. Factors. What kind of factors make you want to go away?
Oh, they're
Pull factors make me want to come towards you, Amelia.
push factors.
Push factors, yes. Push factors are definitely part of this particular university. Had you all heard about this?
Yeah.
University of Oklahoma, SAU is a fraternity there.
Oh, I heard that.
There
No
was-
Mexicans, no interracial dating, or is that a different one?
I'm not sure what they came out with was footage of them singing chanting a song, in particularly aimed at racial tensions, like talking about blacks and derogatory.
In another fraternity, they had like the rules there, and then some of them was like no interracial dating, and then no Mexicans, and like capital letters.
So more exploration is happening. I'm sure they're investigating the other fraternities and sororities on campus. But a lot of people have been protesting these kind of racial relations between whites and blacks, and you know, like, why is this happening? Why is this being allowed? And they've been kicked out of the house. What would the term be? Raise your hand for me. If you have a house that's been left, or a business that's been left, the term from this unit. There's no one there.
Oh, zone of abandonment.
Raise your hand for me.
Zone of abandonment.
Zone of abandonment, yes, okay? So there we go, we can connect that as well, all right? And push factor, in addition, they talked about some, even though this is just one person, some 4-star football recruit that was supposed to come to the school is now no longer coming because of what happened with this return. So, all right, another news story. Noah, do you have a different one? Okay.
So about the Intel Science Little Fair, that's what I'm going to call it, Intel Science Fair.
Uh-huh.
So one of the kids, I don't know what their name was, it was the second person, he had a machine, something like that could stop genetic diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And because chronic diseases could be passed down from genetics.
Noah, continue.
Alright, so I put, the example was chronic diseases could be stopped because of this machine, and chronic diseases are long-lasting diseases that can be treated but not cured, and yeah.
Good. Thank you for finding it an excellent connection. Okay. We'll do 2 more. We're missing. Casey, did you have a connection?
I only got one, but it was the letter to Iran on terrorism, and they didn't want them to have nuclear weapons for the next 10 years, or Obama said this.
Right.
And they would lift some of the economic bans, but then Congress says that they didn't want to sign on it, and that if they didn't sign on it and he went ahead and did whatever he wanted to do, it could be voided as soon as the next president came in.
And what could you connect in this unit?
Terrorism.
Potentially using.
Yeah, they're afraid of terrorism. That's why they want them to have nuclear weapons.
What about this? What's the president's party?
They're the executive.
He's the executive branch, but what political party is Barack Obama?
Oh, he's there.
And what is the majority of Congress?
Republican. So they're kind of going back and forth, and it is difficult. And
so do we have bipartisan action in place? The 2 parties working together?
Well, no, they're kind of working against each other.
Yeah.
They're, I mean, the goal is bipartisan, but they're not doing very well with it.
Yeah. And some things they're doing bipartisan.
Yeah.
On this particular issue, it's very partisan. Good. Thank you for bringing that one up. Okay. One more, and I'll let you raise your hand because we've talked about a lot of the stories. So is there a story that has not been touched on that you reported out on? Miguel?
I did the right to work about Obama and Biden trying to overturn the right to work laws. And I said how that would help with the lower and middle class and get them better conditions. They could, in some cases, you know, gentrify neighborhoods that were low cases, slums, stuff like that. Help gentrify them.
Can you define gentrification for us?
Gentrification is when a lower class neighborhood, a poor neighborhood, is taking the middle class or somewhat a higher class and then takes it, makes it, improves upon it, and then most of the lower class move away from the neighborhood. The whatever class is over.
Good. And why are they pushed out?
Because they can't afford the price of living anymore.
Good job. Well defined. Okay, if we have time later, we'll talk more about other news stories. Well, there's a different one. No. Okay. At this time, we will talk about news stories later, okay? Other things. I want to get to all those. And Nora, see me after class because there was some updates I gave on the class. First thing I want to say is, get your city profiles out and come stand in the middle of the room. We're going to do some movement, people, because I know it's hot in here and you need
Sorry, that's my fault.
Oh, okay. You're fine. They're labeled. Wow.
Jesse, I just.
So done.
City profiles, come on in.
I wasn't so sure on you. I was trying to figure out
I was trying to look at the nuclear one, but I just got checked
Okay, everybody. Everybody's in here. Miguel's not in here. Wildlife
Don't have my with me.
will come in and participate with us anyway. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be a movement activity like at the beginning of the year when we did the functional, formal, perceptual regions. Okay. You are going to do the first column first. Don't even think about the second column of your country. All we want to do is look at the first column. And what we're going to do is I'll tell you, okay, this side of the room is going to, if you have a higher urban percentage, go over here, rural over here. Or I might say primate city, franchise rural. Okay? But what I want you to do is listen to each other. This is not about, okay, I've said mine, I'm done. That's it. You are listening to each other because then I'm going to question you on, okay, can you give me an example of primate city based on what they said? You see what I'm saying? Yes. Nod your head if you're with me. Do this if you're not. Okay. First one. First column, if you have a higher urban percentage in this country, go to the right. If you have a higher rural, go to the left. Fifty-fifty? Then you can stand in the middle as a director. Okay, do you have yours, Wallace? I know, you know it. Okay, let's talk urban first. People over here, listen. Everybody in the room, we're trying to pick up on a pattern of why these particular countries have higher percentages of urban population. Yeah. No, what's your country? Oh, my, Singapore. Singapore. Venezuela. Egypt. Canada. Uruguay. South Africa. Iraq. Brazil. Saudi Arabia. Panama. Okay, what do we think? Are there any connections? Think in your head right now. You're going to raise your hand in a second. Wow. Somebody over here. What did you pick up on trend over here? Yes?
There's a lot of urbanization in those areas.
There is a lot of urbanization in those areas. Thank you. Why do you think that there is a lot of urbanization in those areas? Raise your hand if you know. Casey?
Because they're more populated, so they all have to cram in one area together, and then they all end up going to the same general area for jobs, and they all live in the vicinity of where they all go to jobs, and then it becomes an urban area.
What countries are super populated?
India.
What's the theme of them?
What theme? Like impoverished?
Not impoverished. What's our term? There's these type of countries and these type of countries.
There's LDC and NDC.
There it is. So, which one are we talking about here?
Those are the NDCs. Or no, the LDCs are more populated because they generally have less education, so then they breed more.
Less birth control.
And they have less
More women in the home.
options to have birth control, so they just kind of rabbits.
Okay. Word choice, right?
There wasn't a better one.
Okay. So she brought up a good point. LDCs have high populations of the cities because of natural birth rate, right? MDCs, can someone raise their hand and tell us why MDCs have high urban percentages? Alden.
more education, and it's been shown through studies that higher intelligence rates means you reproduce less.
Okay, how would that explain urbanization then?
Well, because the, people in the MDCs were lucky enough to be to trade enough in their earlier times with the right people and the right time to use the right technologies to advance later on.
And what was that called when we got all that technology?
The Industrial Revolution.
Good job, okay? So now we know why MDCs have high urbanization and why LDCs do, okay? Let's talk about these rural people.
Haiti.
Haiti. Guatemala.
I don't have my paper.
Okay.
I mean, there is one in there.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm supposed to
Because we're all in poor countries.
What is the term?
LDC. Oh, I'm sorry.
Say it. LDC stands for
Less developed countries.
less developed countries. Okay? People over here, what do you think agricultural technique is being used in Haiti and Guatemala? What agricultural techniques? A little review, Miguel.
Shipping cultivation.
Could be shipping cultivation.
Or plantation.
Or plantation. What are those all techniques of?
Subsistence.
Excellent. Miguel, could you please
Well, I knew it.
could you please define subsistence
Subsistence agriculture is when they have to use it to support themselves instead of shipping it off and selling it.
Okay, excellent. Everyone back to the middle of the room. Come.
Force man, but she did.
It's on the website, the school website.
So,
My browse book.
turn it off. Is there
To
a printer?
220. Okay, primate city. If you have a primate city, go over here. If you have ring size rule, over there. If you have neither, stay in the middle, go back towards the projector.
Because my country's Haiti.
Okay. All right, group together, people there. You all are nothing? Neither. Okay. All right, primate city, ready? Listen for the primate cities. They're going to say their city and their country. Later on, you guys are going to get quizzed on these. So listen for primate cities in the world. Go.
Egypt, Cairo, over 8 million.
Cairo, Egypt. Everybody log right now in their head. Do you know where Cairo, Egypt is?
In Egypt.
Somewhere in
Primate cities.
Do you know where Egypt is? Was my
Oh yeah, in Africa.
intended. Everybody?
Northern Africa.
right there.
Northern Africa. Okay? Thank you. Cairo, Egypt. Thank you, Miguel. Singapore. 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 Does everybody know where Singapore is?
Yes.
Indonesia.
No,
It's on
not
the
Indonesia.
tip of
Right over there. It's a little bit
Malaysia. Okay. Singapore, the country itself is how much urban? 100%. The country is a city-state.
Oh,
It is a floating
small.
city. Yeah, well, it's a
I
tax.
meant to look at like
Cairo, Egypt, Singapore. Baghdad, Iraq. Iraq. It's in what region?
Middle East.
Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Sao Paulo, Brazil. Everybody think about where Brazil is before I run over there. Log it.
We all need to sort this one.
Brazil. And question, raise your hand from our culture unit. What language do they speak in Brazil? Raise your hand. Samantha. Portuguese. Good job. All right, go. Yep. Mexico City. Every single one of you think where Mexico is right now.
I think it's somewhere in Central America.
And Sam.
Panama
City,
Panama City, Panama. Can you think where Panama is? We just took this
Like
quiz.
right next to Cairo.
I think that says Panama is the capital.
Panama City, Mexico City. All right, here's your quiz. Everybody, don't give them any hints. Give me a primate city.
Panama City, Panama.
Think of the city-state. Why would you say that? On the tip of Malaysia. Did we get everybody?
No.
We have one more.
What's the one in Brazil?
It's where the World Cup was held.
Actually, the country. What?
Can anybody do the brand in Brazil? Avi, Sao Paulo, and then one more.
Baghdad.
Say it for us.
In Arabic?
Yeah.
Baghdad.
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 Baghdad. Everybody try it. All right. Back to the middle. Everybody back to the middle. Okay. If you have, Sam, define megacity for us.
Was that a city with over 1 million?
More than that.
No, it was more than 5 million.
More.
10 million.
There it is, Sam. If you have a megacity, go to the right. If you don't, get out of here.
10 million. Wait. Is this like, no, you're still garbage. I'm pretty sure.
Megacities over here. Okay. All right, listen up. You all are going to have to repeat back. Megacities. More than 10 million. Karachi, Pakistan.
City of Manila, Philippines, and then it's 10 million. 400.
Excellent. Manila.
Billion?
Manila in the Philippines. Mexico City, Mexico. All right. Did we listen closely?
Yeah.
Sarah, start us off. Mexico City, Mexico is a megacity and a primate city. Second one over here. Go, Sam.
Manila in the Philippines.
Excellent. And one over here, Alden.
Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Why aren't you over here?
No, because that's, you said to ignore this column.
Oh, well, not yet. No, you have to do that this.
Okay. Which one was it?
We've said Mexico. We've said Manila.
What's the Pakistan one?
Yes.
And it was, I don't know what it was.
Somebody want to help out Alden with Pakistan?
I've never been
Okay. It begins with a K.
Cairo.
Karachi. Everybody repeat it.
Karachi.
Karachi. Okay. Grab a seat. Grab a seat.
Why did you get back on your list? The what now? It's not me. The paper. What's negative? There's the water.
Let's wait for a second.
Okay.
We're going to have a break.
Should we find it? Yeah, I've got the paper.
We're going to talk about it right now. All right. On your paper, before you turn it in to me, I want to check to make sure that you've done everything correctly. Rural to urban population. I need both the urban percentage and the rural. You just take 100 minus whichever one you found. I need both urban and rural populations on there. Indicate here. You got it. You're good. Okay. Second set of boxes. You have to have had the population count of each city. I need those numbers on there. If you don't have it, you can use your cell phone right now to make sure they're on there, or a computer. Box 3. Primate city or rank size rule. I'm having some issues with people understanding this term still. Okay?
And if it's neither, you just have to like budget or just say no.
Neither is fine. Just put neither. But a lot of people are saying, let's see here. We don't use that very well. Anybody do 1/3 of 8? 2 point something, right? Or 1/4 of 8 would be 2. Mathy people, I'll leave that up to you. What I'm having issues with is that people are saying, this follows rank size rule. Because these countries, besides the biggest city, the others follow rank size rule. No. The most important thing when you are looking at cities is the largest. Okay? First and foremost, when you're deciding if it's primate, rank, or neither, is to look at the largest city. What would that be? Primate. The second largest city is less than half of it. Okay?
2/3.
Okay.
2/3.
Oh, this one?
No, for that one, because look, base divided by 3 is 2.6666, which is 2/3, which is 3, which is 6666.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, yes.
6, etc.
Thank you, Alden. Okay, what would this be? Somebody raise their hand. 10 is the largest city, 5 is the next, 3, 2.5.
10.
Mock test. Rank size rule. You will have a test question on both of these. I'm telling you up front. You will have to identify which in the following list is a primate city or not a primate city. Do the math. This is rank, this is primate, etc. Okay? So I want to tell you that up front. The last question on your handout is what world model does it fit? This was not to trick you up. If you're Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico, Colombia, the city model you're going to follow is, raise your hand, Latin America. Spine model, wheel of transportation. If your city is in Asia, okay, Singapore, Malaysia, in Thailand, what model are you going to follow? Raise your hand, please. Southeast Asia model, okay? And you're just giving like 2 characteristics of it. If it's in Europe, it's a European model. If it's in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, 3 CBDs. If it's in Northern Africa or the Middle East, Islamic city. So make sure you change that. I was not going for concentric sector, those models. Please change it if you don't have that already. Yes?
For Haiti, I found monos.
For Haiti, monos.
The monos, like a monos.
Okay, where's Haiti located?
But
I want you to describe Latin America. Okay. I'm glad that you found a specific setup, but that's what I wanted for that question, okay? Yes, Ollie. Good question. New Zealand is going to follow more closely to European models. Yes?
Can Israel be considered a sub-Saharan Africa model? Because sub-Saharan Africa couldn't be considered Islamic.
I see what you're saying. Yes, we could apply that. That'd be great. That's okay for yours because it's a North American city. Okay? Please turn them over and pass them forward. When you're finished. If you're still filling in something, just make sure it gets to me.
Why did God make paper cups?
So you could pour lemon juice in them.
Thank you, Nora. I really do appreciate it.
I'm sorry?
I mean, if I was him, I would want something to enjoy myself with. Like, there she got one. Ha ha ha.
Oh my gosh.
All right. I know our band people are going to go take a picture and make sure you come right back. Any notes that you missed, because we're about to take just brief notes, get them from someone in the class. Everybody else, please open up your notes. We're going to take them shortly. And then we're going to talk about your projects. Okay, see how they're going.
I got the first one and
I've been playing after 3 years.
but I'm trying to band, so.
Okay.
Except I don't have an extra space.
I mean, I'll do that.
Should I do that next year? No.
I'll be so funny seeing the world, man.
Don't play that.
I'll be like, what do you play?
I play clarinet. I'm not even.
So everybody got their notes out? Ready to go?
I used to have art. No, I don't want to take art. I'm just going to take art and music. Yeah, you don't like art. You don't want to see me do art. It's really bad.
Do you want to see mine? Oh, hers is bad. We have art showing the gallery thing. Oh, Shelby's.
Okay.
Mine's pretty bad.
And we're back. Okay. We gotta take some notes, you guys. Let's crank through these. Because we have to go down for your all's freshman picture at the end of the period.
Mesopotamia is the only thing I learned from one of my social studies teachers in 7th grade.
Good.
The
I'm glad
Tigris
that you
and the
can remember
Euphrates
that.
River.
There it is. All right. I'm going to point to all these on the map. Write them down first, and then we'll discuss. Okay. Let's identify these on the map. Can somebody please raise their hand and tell me what this definition defines? The origin of something. What is that defining? Callie? Hearth. Hearth. So we had the hearth for popular culture. We had the hearth for language. We've had hearth for agriculture. Now we have hearths for urbanization. These are your 5 hearths. Nile River Valley is located in present-day Egypt. The Nile runs through it. Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq. The Euphrates and Tigris rivers run through it. Indus River Valley. The Indus River runs through it in Pakistan. Right through Karachi. Mayan region, Mexico. Yellow River Valley, China. The Yellow River runs through it. This one is oftentimes left off the hearth. What is the common denominator in the other 4? What did I just say about all of those as to why they would have set up their urbanization where they did? Why they would have urbanized where they did? Wally? Say it louder. River. River. All built around the river. And Lale. Why would they build around the river? What can a river do for you?
Food, there's fish and stuff.
Perfect. Food. What else can you think of a river can do for you? Sarah?
Trade.
Trade. What else? Nora?
Fertile land.
What's that called? Fertile land.
Farmable land.
What's it called? You know it. Land that can be farmed. Land that can have agriculture on it is called.
Oh, we calculated this.
Yeah.
Arable land.
Arable land. This is perfect irrigation without having to do it yourself. Okay? Yes, these places were established on rivers with fresh water. Besides all those things you can do, what's the most basic? Drink it! You have to drink water, right? Okay? So drinking water. Make a big old star beneath your hearth and say, all built on rivers. Okay. You only have, there's 2 more slides that you're actually going to have to write down. Everything else is already notes you have that I just want to discuss. So your early settlements, this is just your brief history. all built near fresh water source. The second thing that they picked up on of these documented settlements was that they were burial sites. And geographers have decided that they set up these urbanized areas to be near their dead. Okay? Third, you start to see women doing manufacturing. No, they don't have sewing machines or big old factories doing things. They're doing things by hand, like creating pottery. Do I have any artists in here who do clay for pottery? What?
So raise your hand.
I don't do pottery. You don't?
No.
What about sewing? Does anybody sew clothes?
I know how to do it.
Yeah?
Are you good at it?
I'm not the worst. You say that.
All right, fire for warmth. A lot of times with your nomadic groups, they were moving towards warmer areas. They went with the animals, right? And the animals went towards warmer areas, like birds fly south, okay? But now with fire, if it gets cool in your region, you can light a fire to stay warm. Defense from enemies, you have a lot of remnants of walls. The rivers serve as defense mechanisms, okay? And bartering. No, you're not going to trade for some dollar bills. You're going to trade 10 potatoes for a llama, or something like that, okay? Yes?
Do you know how many llamas you're worth? How many goats you're worth? You're worth 2 goats, I'm worth like 7 goats. Like, you're online.
Half of them. What?
There's a website, I swear. You can put in like what you are, and it, it tells you how much goats you're worth.
Is this something that went viral? Is this contagious diffusion?
Yes.
Pop culture? Thank you for bringing it up.
Okay, you can change. Yeah.
Okay, our last slide that you need to make sure you get down. Besides our urbanized hearts, these are the stages of how urbanization has come to today. So you had your hearts, that's stage 1. Then came along city-states. Have you heard of Athens and Sparta, Olympia and Delphi? Those were all city-states at one point. It would be like us protecting Louisville to the death. We have government in Louisville, we protect Louisville, we make our food and survive all in Louisville. That's what the city-states were. And they were very powerful for the time. Okay? Then you see the rise of settlements in the medieval period with feudalism. In the system of feudalism, you have the king, and then you have the wealthy, and then you have the peasants. And the king would give the wealthy cities if they served in his military. And in your city, you'd have all your peasants working for you. So that's where we saw some urbanization in the medieval period. And finally, this is what we think of today, don't we? The cities, the Industrial Revolution. That's where urbanization has really taken off since the 1700s. Okay? You can just come by us. Thanks, Jesse. That was your last slide that you're going to have to write a significant amount. Now I just want you to make a list of problems in cities. That should be your header, problems in cities. And these are all vocabulary terms that you've already heard about, but I just want to discuss them with them so that you have a better idea of what the terms are. Okay, so here's the list that starts. This is process of deterioration. The first term is filtering, so just add to your list, filtering. Something about urbanization that we've heard a lot about is socioeconomics. Have you all heard that term before, socioeconomics? So your social status based on how much money. Essentially, that you have. Okay? Filtering is when you have wealthy people who live in an area and then they move. And in the United States, where are the wealthy people moving to? Raise your hand and tell me. What's the common trend of wealthy people in any city? Where are they tending to move to? Think about that for a second. Samantha?
The suburbs
The suburbs. That's right. The suburbs. North America is unique in that wealthy people move outward. Okay? Filtering is your wealthy people move outward. Did you get your progress report? Okay. It's in, oh yeah, I got it.
Did you see
The
Amy
wealthy people
Bordone?
move out, the middle class moves
Amy
into those
Bordone.
houses.
Yeah.
Did she
Then
find you?
the middle class moves. Where?
This
Where the wealthy are going.
Where are they going, Shelby?
Yes. You might want to touch
Where are the wealthy?
Or
Wealthy
not.
people move to the suburbs. Where do the middle class go?
Where the
They went there, but now they're moving out too, to the suburbs, okay? And your lower income groups are moving into these houses. Have you all ever seen those like 3-story houses down by the University of Louisville? Okay, those big old Louisville homes. That is where you have filtering taking place. Do you all know out Southern Parkway, Taylor Boulevard?
Yeah.
Those used to be summer homes for the wealthy. That's why you have some really big houses out there, right? And filtering has taken place with middle and lower income groups moving into those areas. Often filtering, you come in and rent. Okay? Make sense? Okay. Zones of abandonment. Have you ever driven by a house or a factory that is no longer functioning, boarded up? Zones of abandonment. Slums. This term is important. We talked about squatter settlements, right? Where are squatter settlements located? Someone raise their hand. Squatter settlements are where people just set up shanty towns. You see them a lot in Latin America and Africa. Where are they going to set those up in terms of the city? Sure.
outside.
On the outskirts. Squatter settlements are usually going to be on the outskirts. Slums are usually inside the city. Usually. Okay? So poor part of town that's really run down, it doesn't have very goods available to them, it's unsanitary, etc. Okay? And the last one up there is disamenity, and that's when you are lacking all of those goods. All right. Race relations, we have to go through these really quickly. All of these are illegal now. Illegal. Some of them still take place. In terms of housing and race relations, at one point segregation was legalized. In 1896, can someone remember the court case that legalized segregation? We talked about this earlier in the year. What's that, Sam?
Was it supposed to be?
It is. Plessy versus Ferguson legalized separate but equal segregation. Okay? That was overturned, and someone, remember, freshmen, you all just read this book based on this court case, Noah.
Brown versus the Board of Education.
Brown versus the Board of Education, 1954. Okay? Segregation was outlawed. But before, we had large neighborhoods, black, white. Okay? Racial steering. This would be if I was a real estate agent and someone came in to me who is of Cuban descent, I would go and show them houses where other Hispanic people are living. That's racial steering. I'm steering you towards a neighborhood that looks just like you. Okay? Illegal. Block busting. This happened in the 1960s and 70s. It goes alongside of the concept of white flight. You had real estate agents coming in largely to white neighborhoods and saying there's going to be a large population of African Americans moving in. So the white people up and move, and those real estate agents sell those houses for higher prices to the African Americans moving in. That's block busting. Illegal. Redlining is our final term that you need to know. This is if you go to the bank and you have certain demographics about you, say you're a single mother, or you are a Hispanic person who's just immigrated here, or you are African American. All of these demographics can lead to the bankers saying, no, we don't want to loan you money because they don't think that they'll be able to pay it back. Illegal, okay? But these are all components that have taken place in the United States.
How would registering be illegal since, like, I understand why they think it would be bad, but why is it illegal? Why is it that bad?
If you are not showing them like all their options, then that they could be taken to court for having, basically it would be instigating segregation, pushing them in that direction. Okay, underclass, this one you might need to write down. This is a group of people that a lot of times in human geography, they want, you have wealthy, you have middle class, you have lower income, and then the human geography people that be, whoever created this, have termed underclass as a group of its own. A group of people that are in a cycle of poverty below those who are making minimum wage. These people are making maybe nothing to below the poverty line. And in these areas, usually the underclass is going to be in the regions of the city considered slums, where they don't have access to safety, healthcare facilities, jobs, etc. Some factors, part of underclass that have been studied, you have higher percentages of alcoholism, drug usage, and homelessness. Okay? So this, in our socioeconomic, looking at our levels, okay, for this particular unit, underclass is below your lower income groups of people. Okay. Yeah.
Like talking about jobs, there's a lot of teens that get jobs at McDonald's and these places where you get the minimum wage and everything. Why don't they, because technically the teens and everybody, they don't need it. So like why wouldn't they just give it like, allow like underclass people to try to get a job?
They do try to promote jobs, and the United States has places where job available, like people can go, homeless shelters where they can encourage them to get jobs. But something that tends to happen with this group of people is that they don't stay in the job. They won't show up for work potentially, don't have means of transportation to work, don't have the qualifications because maybe you have two applicants and one has, like a better track record or
literacy.
record. Sorry?
Literacy.
Literacy. Then they're going to choose that person over another. There's various factors, and it's a case-by-case basis why a person may or may not get the job or be able to maintain it. It's a good question to ask. Noah solved that issue for us, okay? You go out and deliver. Okay, here in the United States, we have what's called public housing, okay, where your groups of the community, often part of underclass or lower income, will be put in public housing that you don't have to pay completely for. Usually it's 30% that public housing you have to pay for. Have you all heard of Shepherd Square? No? It's been torn down. That might be why you have not heard of it. It was close to Mesquite. Now there is public housing located in places like Beecher Terrace. Okay. Have you all heard of these places? Okay. Okay. This is part of public housing for lower income groups in cities around the United States. Not in my backyard. NIMB. I know that sounds like it's from Urban Dictionary, right? That I made it up. But this is actually a term used for urbanization. Not in my backyard is stuff that you would not want built near you. Okay? But they need these things. Landfills, garbage has to go somewhere. They don't just pick up your garbage and it disappears somewhere, you all. It goes somewhere else. And they store it, and that's called a landfill. They dig and they put it into a mountain, okay, it becomes a mountain. Would you like a landfill nearby you? Would you like a prison nearby? Would you like a mall nearby?
Malcolm seemed like the best choice right now.
Of these.
Yeah.
A mall, think about Mall St. Matthews though. In Oxmoor Mall, have you ever driven out there and seen how much traffic there is? Okay, so a lot of people are not interested in having a mall nearby. An airport, anybody live near Audubon? You can hear the planes taking off, landing, trains. Okay, these are things that people do not want near them, but are very much so a part of urban life. Okay, pollution, right, jot this down. Pollution is an issue with cities. It can be air, water. This is actually an image of India, and that is not fog. That is smog. That is pollution. Smog.
Is he a dragon? Did I get that?
The dragon?
So from a Lord of the, like a...
Oh, yes. What's that, the title?
The Hobbit.
Desolation of Smog. Yeah. Pollution. This is an issue in cities. Traffic congestion. Issue in cities. Right? Has anybody been to Chicago and tried to drive?
Oh, yes.
New York City.
That's awful.
Okay. And crime. All right. These are all issues with cities. And so, ways in which we want to curb them come in this resolutions form. Urban sustainability, just like agricultural sustainability, taking care of the environment. Mixed use development. Let's not just build a whole city of factories. Let's also have parks. Okay? Smart growth policies, preventing urban sprawl from taking place. Okay? Green belts prevent urban sprawl from taking place. And new urbanism is the last one, and that has to do with what?
Walking.
Walking.
Having more walking space than the road.
I think walking would be really good for Americans, don't you? Yeah. Have more Bardstown Road accessibility.
See, I live right down the street. I live on Longest, and so I walk up there all the time. If I ask my mom if she can like drop me on the Valley Market, she literally says no, that I have to walk. Like during the foot of snow that we got, I was like, Mom, can I get a ride up to Valley Market? She's like, no, you're walking.
It's good. It would be good for all of us. I walked to the grocery store when the snow hit. It was like 2 miles to walk there. It was good. It was good exercise. Especially when you're walking like this.
I had to jump through parts of the snow. My sister like took a video of me because I had to jump through it.
Yeah, it got pretty bad there. All right, guys. That's all for notes today. What I want you to do now is get out your projects. Next class, you'll be presenting in small groups your project. We don't have time today, and I don't want to sell anybody short. So if you would please get your poster and then your essay. Make sure the rubric is stapled to the front. And on the back of your essay, just flip it over. And I want you to write 2 things for me. Number 1. This is your exit slip for the day. On your project, I want you to say, what were 2 things that I did awesome on this project? Pump yourself up, okay? What did you do to make it creative, organized, good definitions, whatever? And 1 critique. What is 1 thing you could have done better? Or 1 thing that you had issues with? This is your self-assessment.
Can we make a list or do you have to make a sentence list?
I'm okay with the list.
Can we do on the back of our poster?
No, on the back of your essay. And the second thing I want you to do is tell me what are 2 urban problems that can be listed, and what's 1 solution to urban problems. Okay? Everybody's working on that. 5 minutes. People who just came back, I'm going to post the PowerPoint that I just went over with everybody on the website as we speak.
Yeah.
What? Two positives about your poster project. Two positives and a critique about your own work.
It's two urban problems in your city.
No, the urban problems has to do with what we talked about in class today.
Oh.
What were any of that long list of things I went over? What are urban problems, two of them, and what's one solution that people have come up with? Look at your vocabulary for that one. And I am posting that PowerPoint right now. Or like record yourself.
It's a photo recording, yes, and it's just like this lady on the news.
Yeah, sure.
But does it matter how long it is? I mean, it's not really, it's the last one.
I mean, I think all of this relevant, there's just a chunk that's relevant to that. But make sure that work isn't changed.
It was just.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna do the first two or like.
Okay. Okay. When you are finished, and there's no rush, I want your poster and your essay when you're finished. Okay.
What did he do?
Could you please inform me where the stapler is?
There we go.
Your project is
Good job. That's good, Sam.
I want to see yours.
Oh,
that's so nice. Mine's not good, but mine's not horrible. Yeah. I must have taped my cameras together because it's going to be like this. Yeah. And then the where's your stapler?
Guys, don't worry. We are going to share these projects in class, and I'm so excited to hang them up in my room. They look awesome. Thank you.
The children.
Yeah. Kids aren't right now.
Man, I love
Oh, that would have been kind of.
Okay, before class dismisses, because we're going to go down to the auditorium for the last 5 minutes. Reminders. Number 1, you all should start studying for this test. been a long break from the snow days, so start studying for that test tonight.
Excuse me, but even if aren't the pictures for freshmen?
Well, they are, Sam, yes. But if you want, you're just gonna have to go down with us and sit down there, okay?
Join us, Sam.
Second thing, reminder, and Nora, you might not have heard this, AP sign up is by next Friday. Make sure that you do that, write it down for yourself. AP Human Geography review days are starting next Wednesday after school, optional. But I'm going to be here to review with you all. This has to do with you, sister. Just worry about Wednesday. Yes.
When is the
May 15th, 8 a.m. But you have to sign up by that date to get the test.
Right. I just didn't know what actual date.
It's a Friday, too. Yeah. I am saying that. Okay? Pack up your belongings, and we are heading to the auditorium.
Come on, guys, mark how everything works. I don't think we did.
Those work.
Those work. Yes. No, those aren't good.